Order, order. You see that a few times in the House. First of all, welcome to everybody this morning and thanks for coming. You know, it's been interesting as I've walked around. Isn't it good to see you? I've seen you on Zoom. It's the first time I've seen you in real, and let me shake your hand. So it's good to have everybody here this morning, and thanks a lot for coming. Can I also thank Scarborough as well for allowing us to use this place. It's the first event that's taken place in the community stadium, which is great, and I think you'll all agree they've done a great job, particularly considering I walked in here last week and the walls weren't even painted, were they, Steve? Anyway, they've done a great job in getting it ready, and thanks to everybody at Scarborough, and those who want, there's a little preview after, because it's not opening, I think, till about the end of this month. I think it officially opens, and actually starts operating as a stadium. Housekeeping, there is no fire alarms planned. There are 2 fire exits, one at the back and one down there. Please do not use the lifts if there is a fire alarm, but hopefully we'll get through without any incidents. As I was saying, it's been an excellent response to this press conference. It's a little bit more than a press conference. It's really about putting out into the public domain the information of where we are on the Olympic Legacy Park, but probably more importantly, where we're going as well. And I think there are 2 exciting announcements today. First is the National Centre for Child Health Technology. And while some of you might have seen an architect's drawing, we're going to be taken inside. We're going to be taken inside what that building is going to do for Sheffield, for the region, and beyond as well. And I can honestly say there's nobody more proud than I am, as a Sheffielder, for our little jewel in the crown, which is called the Sheffield Children's Hospital, for it now to come down here and create a space where it's going to bring the best of that institution, and it's going to, I think, really rock the development around paediatric care in a way that I know certain people, like Paul, will want it to do. But we're going to give that opportunity now down here, and that's thanks to a partnership. The second part of the press conference is to where we go in the future. We'll be announcing, Mark will be a little later, 1 million square feet of build on this park and its development, and what that's going to realise. But not just about buildings. It's about the ecosystem that's evolving. It's about doing that in probably the biggest envelope of a life sciences park in the north of England in the medium term. So we're very proud, and I'm very proud to have been parties to that. But can I say, just before we go into introducing our speakers on the panel, we wouldn't have been here had it not been, I don't know, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was asked to put a team together to see what we could do about Don Valley Stadium. Because 8 years ago, you're right on the corner of a running track called the Don Valley Stadium. That's where you sat today. And that was a bit controversial, knocking it down. But what we have been able to do is to develop that because of the backing that the local authority gave to us, the space that it's also given us to operate, and they've never questioned any of our major decisions, but also the trust they put into the Olympic Legacy Park. And I think we delivered that. It was Julie Dore who was the leader, but the guy now who is the leader of Sheffield City Council, let me tell you, local authorities take some stick from time to time, but they do get some big decisions right, and they're long-term decisions, and that's what's important when you're talking about good public policy. And I know Terry Fox, who's going to say a few words this morning, is just to say thanks for what you've done, Terry, as leader, backing us. I hope you'll continue to back us, and I think, you know, the future is bright. But Terry Fox, would you just say a few words to the meeting this morning on behalf of Sheffield City Council, who play such a great role? Terry Fox.
Good morning, everyone. I always get a bit nervous when I follow Richard because you just don't know exactly what if he's going to stick on cue. But first of all, a big thank you, Richard and the team, for taking on that vision and that challenge, really, that as local politicians, certainly under Julie and the Cabinet, and I know Maz is here and Mary's here, the Cabinet MP, there are a number of us that sometimes when you get that vision, people just wonder whether you can make this and get it over the line. And with officers and the commitment of the council, it really is sometimes a challenge. And we do get knockers. And on a local project that we went on, we've said wasn't our finest hour. But when we get it right, we get it right. And that's the real problem. And I said then publicly, and I will say publicly, that for what we do fail on, we get more right. But that shouldn't extinguish our appetite for ambition for this city. That should be, when you look out there and you see the nursery, you see the schools, you see the UTC, what will it be to get that one child that starts in that nursery and ends up over there for a PhD and then goes to Oxford? That is levelling up. That is what it's all about. Many 40 odd years ago, quoted a lass from Chippingham Street just across the road, headed up Marina, bless her. Just get washed in canal, but I'll not go in there with Denise. But to see how this has developed with that foresight, but it can't be done without being in partnership. And that's the one thing that this city has. When we all come together here, we all know each other. We all know of each other's strengths. And the beauty about Sheffield and the beauty for the council and for our officers is knowing that when we put our stamp on that, you've got our backing. Yes, we'll stretch you. Yes, we'll challenge you. But that's what it's all about. But we'll back you. And we continue to back. And we have backed not just by commitment, but by showing public money into this project. But what a delivery. And just on Sunday, I was sat with Yuri here watching the Eagles play. 700 people, 800 people in a stand that many moons ago we were just stood round, we stood on that hill actually, stood on that hill watching and just seeing the professionalism that comes on. So from us as a council, to partners and to yourselves, we will not extinguish our appetite for ambition. We will not extinguish our quest to level up this city. And we will back, and when we do back you, we'll go 100% and we'll go all the way with you. So I just wanted to take 5 minutes of your time this morning. I've got to shoot, and just apologies for that, but I wanted to really come to say, and I know Maz and Mary's here as well, who are really 10 years into this project and really kind of passionate about that we just wanted to show our support, Richard, for you and the team for here today. And I'm sure working with us, with partners, and with Oliver, our mayor down at the MCA, we can create something that's absolutely eye-watering, fantastic. And also, this is a start. That's the issue. This is the start. We have got so much more to do in this area, and let's do it together. So thank you, Richard, and thanks, everybody.
I think that's the best bit of his day today because he's got to go and sort out and out now. So good luck on that. Good luck on that one, Terry. But can I just move on then to the National Centre for Child Health Technology? And again, to some extent, we wouldn't have got it across the line as quickly as we have had it not been for the team in South Yorkshire. And Oliver, I'm going to just ask to say a few words about that. But he has just come in as mayor, and he came down here and he's given us absolute backing as Oliver, and also as his chief executive, Martin Swells was the new chief executive there, and the team on working with the Children's Hospital, working with Chris and the park down here and the local authority. We've got this over the line quicker than we thought we were going to do, and hopefully now we'll go from strength to strength. So I'm going to ask Oliver to say a few words, and then I'll introduce Ruth and Paul, who is the real visionary behind this. Oliver.
I promise there are no references to me getting naked in a canal. Just say that from the beginning. Before I say anything more, I do actually just want to echo Terry's comments, Richard's comments. Don Valley Stadium was an important part of Sheffield and South Yorkshire's heritage. I was at the opening of the World Student Games. I saw Helen Sharman carry and then drop the torch on the run down into the stadium. It was a precious part of our infrastructure, and when it was slated for closure, I think it was fair to say that the council came in for a fair bit of stick. But through the leadership of the council, officers of the council, politicians, we are now sitting on a world-leading facility And they did that despite those objections and people who said it couldn't be done. I was one of those people who didn't know whether that would be as successful as it has turned out to be, but I think the council do deserve credit for actually driving forward and taking that ambition and turning it into something genuinely world leading. So just want to recognise, I think, the council and the officers for the work that they've done. It's a genuine pleasure to be here today to celebrate the launch of the National Centre for Child Health Technology, led by one of South Yorkshire's most impressive assets, and by that I mean the Olympic Legacy Park, not Richard. I'm incredibly proud that our region is home to a development that is the first of its kind anywhere, literally anywhere in the world, that will improve the health and lives of young children, not just in our communities, but across the country. And it's a signal of intent for our wider ambitions to develop a world-leading innovation corridor here in South Yorkshire. Through innovation and collaboration between clinical, academic and industry partners, significant, genuinely significant improvements in child health are going to be pioneered here on this site. I'm delighted that the South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority that I lead is playing a part in that journey, with a £6 million funding package that will go towards innovative research assets across clinical departments, outpatient departments, therapy services, an immersive technology zone, and the Child Health Business Technology Centre. One of my most urgent priorities as South Yorkshire's Mayor is to improve the lives of our young people and address the stark health inequalities that people in our community face. I'm committed to making South Yorkshire the healthiest region in our country, and that must start by giving children the best start in life. The NCCHT's research will help to drive significant improvements in child health, which could not be more important, particularly for places like South Yorkshire. The inequalities across our region are huge. They hold back our economy, but more importantly, they are morally indefensible. 80 more preventable deaths occur in Doncaster per 100,000 people compared to the average in England. And if you're born in South Yorkshire, your healthy life expectancy at birth is just 59 years compared to England's average of 63. But we have unbelievable potential to address those challenges in our region. That's why I'm proud to support the development of the NCCHT and the wider work of this world-leading life sciences park. Their pioneering research is going to help to give children in South Yorkshire and across the country a healthier and happier start in life. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Oliver. And let me just say about the South Yorkshire Mayoral Authority, the glass is half full, not half empty, and that is great to have that. It is the enthusiasm that's now coming out of that, and as I say, can-do attitude is really, really welcome. I hope you keep that going. There'll be a few bumps on the road, there's no doubt about that, but if you keep going, we will be backing you all the way as well, and we've got some great developments in the medium term. The two people that's really pushed this, as it were, from the Children's Hospital. As I say, it's only one of 3 children's hospitals in the country. We love it dearly as our institution. We're very, very proud of it indeed, as I say. But now, thanks to these two people, we've been able to take the best of that and really start developing it around an within an ecosystem and a life sciences park that I think is going to really give it some help to move where it ought to be, probably recognised as one of the best institutions in terms of paediatric care and development, not just in this country, but Europe and indeed beyond. Ruth Brown, Chief Executive, who's going to say a few words, and then Paul Dimitri. Ruth, Chief Executive, who's really has pushed this along, and we know that from time to time, Ruth, there's a little bit of difficulties in bureaucracy. I was a minister for 10 years. I had a few yes ministers, I can assure you, around my table from time to time, but we're doing so far so good. And then Paul Dimitri. There are certain people who are visionaries. You come across them. I've had the great privilege of working with some of these over the years that have gone through my career. I've always been one of them that's seen a good visionary and then been able to ride on the back of it. So I'm pretty good at that as a good politician. But this guy, Paul Dimitri, you know, when we started discussing it with him a few years ago about the National Centre, and I'm thinking, well, can you really do that? And even me doubting that. So E was in front of me in terms of pushing. Now, there ain't many people get in front of me in terms of pushing, but E did. And this is why we're here today announcing this. And he's going to take you around a journey. Not of that, it's a nice building, a lovely building, and thanks to the architects, Mark, and all that. But inside that building, that's what it's really, really all about. And Paul is going to take you on that journey around and inside that building today. And just think about where all that's going to go, because after that, Mark is going to be telling why we're building 1 million square feet of development in our next phase because of the turnkey nature of the National Centre Child Health Technology. Very important to us, both from paediatric care, but also how we actually develop our economy in South Yorkshire. Ruth, would you like just to say a few words to us about your little journey you've had in getting this where we are? Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Fabulous introduction. So, good morning, everybody. It's amazing that we've got everybody here today, and can't quite believe that we've made it to this point, and lots to deliver once we get the building up as well. It's taken years and years of dedication, hard work by many, many people, including many of those on the platform with me today, to get us to this point. I'd like to start by taking the opportunity to say a huge thank you to them for their vision, determination, commitment to get us to this development on the Olympic Legacy Park, but in particular the development of a National Centre for Child Health Technology. In a moment, Professor Paul Dimitri will tell you how the centre will actually work. But before I introduce him, I'd like to give you 5 reasons why this centre really, really matters. I need to remember the slides. I'll have somebody waving at me somewhere, I'm sure, yeah. Thank you. So the first is that children's health impacts everything. A child in poor health not only suffers now, their health can suffer throughout their life. It impacts their education, their families and loved ones, the communities that we all live in and work in, and it impacts society now and in the future. Improving children's health is the compassionate and right thing to do so that children can thrive. The second reason is equality. Children's health isn't fair. Poverty and inequality are creating larger divisions in our society. And this is having an enormous impact on children. We know children born in some postcodes have vastly poorer health than children living just a few miles along the road. What a strong signal it sends to place a new national centre here, supporting the regeneration of this area as we work to lift children in all areas into good health and well-being. The third reason is treatment and prevention. In the vast majority of cases, health issues are preventable or easily treatable. This centre will focus on health issues like obesity, mental health and long-term conditions, and work with our experts and clinicians and children to innovate and create a future of healthcare that we haven't even imagined yet. The fourth reason is technology. Technology is key to taking progress to the next level. Our workshops and assessment spaces will find new ways of taking challenges with children at the heart. We'll create the tools that clinicians can use to support a child's care and their treatment wherever they are. They'll create technology to help us intervene sooner and more effectively. Now is the perfect time to harness that progress across all areas of technology and find the innovation that can change lives. Our fifth and final reason is about partnership and collaboration. For too long, those of us that are able to make change have often worked in silos. By bringing together the experience, skills, knowledge, energy, passion, and funding, we can all make a huge difference. We want to make a difference to children's lives by working together. Collaboration with our patients, with our clinical teams and experts, with leading academics and industry means that we can make strides together that we simply couldn't do on our own. In 2026, Sheffield Children's will celebrate being 150 years old. We've changed the face of healthcare for children and young people during this time enormously. We truly believe that the National Centre can change lives internationally for generations to come and leave a legacy for the next 150 years. We are the only NHS trust that offers a full range of physical and mental health care within the community, providing care at home, but also specialist care in hospital. We know that we're well placed to have this global first right here in Sheffield and South Yorkshire. Our mission at Sheffield Children's is to create a healthier future for young people. Through this collaboration, we'll work with our patients and partners to have an even bigger impact nationally and internationally. I know I can speak on behalf of our patients, their families, their loved ones, and our staff to say thank you. Thank you for helping us fund such a vital project. We've received enormous support from Sheffield City Council in the Levelling Up Fund, and the £6 million announced by Oliver today from the South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority takes us a vast step forward. The Children's Hospital Charity is also a partner, and just last week they committed £2 million to this project. Their support always helps us go way beyond NHS provision, helps us make sure we can provide the best possible care in the best possible facilities and enable vital research. We're thrilled that the charity will launch its fundraising in April, so look out for details. We at Sheffield Children's are really, really proud to be part of Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park and working together with our partners to turn this vision into a reality. I look forward to working with everybody to make these plans an incredible, life-changing reality for our children and young people across the world. Thank you. And I'm going to introduce Professor Paul Dimitri. As Richard said, Paul has been the absolute driving force behind this vision. We're incredibly proud to have Paul as part of Sheffield Children's. Paul's the Professor of Child Health and the Director of Research and Innovation at the NHS Trust. And I'm really, really pleased to be welcoming him up to the stage to give you a little bit more detail about the centre. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and also to Richard for your very kind introduction. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this milestone. And it's always an honour to be called a visionary, particularly by someone as well known as Richard. But also, the thing about a visionary and a vision is that it can't just be one person. A vision has to have people to believe in it, and also people to drive that vision forward with you. And it's to say huge thanks for all those that have done that, and there's too many to name in one presentation. But this vision started with a conversation with Richard 7 years ago, when I had Richard come to my office at Sheffield Children's Hospital, and he said, we're going to make this vision a reality. And there's Richard, Chris and the team at the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park, my colleagues at Sheffield Children's Hospital, and many more that have now got to this point of making what was a vision truly a reality. So before I tell you about the groundbreaking National Centre for Child Health Technology, I want to begin with why we are here. Children. They are 25% of our population and 100% of our future. They are the workers and the parents of the next few decades. They are the elderly population in the next 60 to 70 years. How we support their health and manage their healthcare now will impact on our region and nation for the next century. The National Centre for Child Health Technology is a global first, and I'm always very careful to say that, and those are not my words. Those are the words that have come from colleagues in multinational industry. The National Centre is set to create the most advanced technologies to support the health and healthcare of children and young people. It's about innovation and technology creating change. If we invest in keeping our children healthy, we invest in the future. What we will do is focus on quality of life, not simply quantity. We will use innovation and technology to support health prevention and tackle health inequalities. Importantly, what we'll also do is move away from a one-size-fits-all approach and personalise healthcare for every one of our children and young people that we look after. Our work will shift the way we manage patients to reduce the pressure on our hospitals and deliver care in the home and the community where our patients and our families truly want it. And we'll work with industry, healthcare professionals and our universities to achieve these goals. So to achieve our goals, the National Centre for Child Health Technology has areas that will focus on a broad range of technological solutions. With the patient and clinical care at its core. In the creativity and manufacturing zone and immersive technology and robotics zones, we will use the latest technologies from industry and from our universities to advance and create the future of children's healthcare. The Design for Living and Growing will bring the best designers to work with children and families to develop innovative solutions to healthcare delivery and self-care so that we teach our families and our children to self-manage, and they can do that at home. Our Healthy Living and Prevention Centre will develop and utilise the latest technology to prevent disease, to change health behaviour and educate our children and young people. The Paediatric Technology Zone will provide a home and a hospital testbed to trial the latest technology in real time with children, but away from a hospital environment which is sometimes so difficult to access to trial these new technologies. Our Advanced Telecommunications Centre will create new ways of delivering healthcare, shifting healthcare from hospital to the home. And to achieve our aims, the National Centre for Child Health Technology will be home to large and small businesses, and through our Business Development Centre, we'll ensure that products get to market at pace. The National Centre for Child Health Technology is founded on our Super 7 strategic priorities. And these priorities are not here by accident. They are of national and international importance. But we need innovative solutions to old problems and old challenges. Prevention and health inequalities, childhood obesity, mental health, long-term conditions such as diabetes, asthma and epilepsy. Ensuring excellent maternal care, giving children the best start in life, and childhood disabilities and childhood cancer. And through our work, we will focus and address the challenges that have been laid out in many national strategies for many years. The NHS Long-Term Plan, the Life Sciences Industrial Strategy, Levelling Up. Prevention is better than cure, our vision to help you live well for longer. Health inequality, health equity in England, the Marmot Review 10 years on. That review states that health inequalities are worse than they were 10 years ago, and we must make change. And finally, the National Disability Strategy. And these are some of the many strategies that we will aim to address over the years to come in the National Centre for Child Health Technology. So to finish, ladies and gentlemen, with Sheffield Children's Hospital leading and with the other amazing centres at the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park, we are creating one of the most powerful ecosystems on our planet, a place where new discovery translates to real benefit. We are and will continue to attract investment to the National Centre for Child Health Technology, the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park, that will accelerate growth and commercialisation and high-value skills. We have the collective aim of improving the health and wealth of our nation. Our next step is to bring together global industry partners and investors with our regional stakeholders to work collaboratively to achieve success on our new strategic board. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Centre for Child Health Technology will change the future, and it will change the future of health and healthcare. By starting early in life, we will change more. From me, and on behalf of Sheffield Children's Hospital, thank you to Central Government for the initial £9 million in funding through Levelling Up, to the South Yorkshire Mayor Combined Authority for the additional £6 million, and to our Sheffield Children's Hospital charity for your generous support in making the National Centre for Child Health Technology a reality, and for giving our children the opportunity for a brighter start in life. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Well, that's the vision of the future. And as Paul was saying, it's not been a short journey. It's been a long journey up to now, and a lot of work's been done. And what Paul's been able to do during that journey is convince quite a lot of people that that can be a reality, will be a reality, and we've taken the first steps to do that. But as I say, there's been conversations with a lot. And what I'm going to do now is just throw up onto the screen some of those who we're in dialogue with, who have sent us messages not only of support, but also of encouragement, and indeed what they want to do. You've got Health Education England, you've got Google, AWS, Canon Medical, RCPCH, which I think you're a vice president of, is that right? Yep, those are vice presidents. We should definitely get one from them anyway. BT, Westfield Health, Hallam University, and the Baker Deering Trust. For those that don't know, the connection with that is our UTC, which is one of the leading, if not the leading UTC in the country as well. And the head Jess is with us this morning. That's just a flavour of some of those that are already engaging with Paul and his colleagues so that they can actually converge their developments. And it is this interface, as a number of people refer to, the partnerships. That's what makes it so rich in terms of the developments for the future, that partnership is genuine and real. And so we are working with them, and I say a lot more, but those are the ones that we've been actually engaged with, and we think that is a very good step forward. Now, I've got to get a few bob off them, by the way, which I will do in the not too distant future. Now, I just want to let you into another little secret, that I've got a relatively new chief executive called Chris Lowe. Chris is down there. And he seems to be getting ahead of the game with me as well, which I just have to watch him from time to time. But he was smarter than me off the blocks this weekend, because he's already written to the Princess of Wales, because some of you remember this weekend, the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood put out an open letter. So what Chris has done is invited the Princess, and she wants to bring her husband along as well, he can do, to our park and sit down with us, and we are saying very seriously, and what Chris is saying very seriously, is that if you want to be partners with us, all them issues that you were raising over this weekend are very much what's being mapped out by Paul today, and we believe we've got something that can add real value to that initiative, which is a really good initiative that the Foundation for Early Childhood is developing, and come with us on this journey of developing the CCHT and beyond. So, Chris, thanks for that. And I did come into the office, said to Claire, I'm going to write a letter to them. She said, it's already done. Chris has done it. So at least Chris is ahead of the game now with me as well. What I want to do now is just share with you. That's the vision that Paul is giving out and others and have referred to. We just want to now show you a short video what I think really does, and thanks to Nikki, where's Nikki? Where is she? From Scarborough, there she is. She put it together. She said, you know, Richard, it's difficult to say what this park is really all about. Where is it uniquely different? It's not part of the Golden Triangle down at Oxford, Cambridge and London. It's not a normal science park. It's not just an ecosystem. It's about people. It's about bringing people together. And I think the unique nature of the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park is actually encapsulated in this very short video. I hope you agree.
It started with a spark, the fire from the flame, the spirit of the games, the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park. We laid down our marker, an ideal that was forged from a philosophy, a belief that health and well-being is a right, a belief that sport can pave the way for something that will infuse, engage and excite. We used that pioneering spirit to define our community, to create opportunities backed by research and learning, to encourage those yearning for a chance, to collaborate, captivate and motivate those around the corner to those around the globe. This is an environment, an ecosystem that is world-leading, that is succeeding in raising aspirations. Entrepreneurs see the value of health and well-being, and through bold investment, they are redefining the future. From the seeds they are sowing, the economy is growing. WellTech innovation is now exceeding expectations, going beyond, driving further, travelling far. We know what we do. We know who we are. We have made progress that is transformational, that has been inspirational in aiding the elite, so that when they are in the heat of battle, they go on longer. They come through stronger. There is space for all here. From world-leading names to those who just want to have fun and watch games. Space to make us healthier, to inspire new generations and new learning. Space for teams to come together, event spaces, spaces for relaxing and enjoying. But we are made to move. We cannot stand still. We have the will and the belief to know that this must only be the start, that we move on and play our part. We are creating even more advanced facilities, looking to stimulate new levels of abilities so that we can have an even greater impact. All ages and abilities active. All ages and abilities moving forward. Living proof of the legacy. A legacy for lifetimes. A legacy for all times.
Thanks a lot for that, Nick. You did a fantastic job. And I think what we've tried to show today is how we're developing these real senses of intellectual property, of research and of development. But what's always been weak in our city, in our economy, is the ability to take that knowledge and translate that into wealth creation, into jobs, into services, and really market that in terms of the advanced technologies. And so what we've been able to do now, I think, and what we're going to show you, what Mark's going to take you through, is with our partner, our development partner, Scarborough Group, we have been able to start looking at how we can put that master plan together. How we can actually encourage people to take that intellectual property and move that into wealth creation. What Hallam University is doing here, and Chris and others are involved in that, in the accelerator program, whether it's on the food technology, whether it's on the AWRC, whether it's around Canon and the rest. There's a real opportunity now to get that knowledge, and that's what it is. The tradable commodity is knowledge. It's how you use that knowledge and how you exploit that knowledge. I think you've seen here the partnerships between the institution of the Children's Hospital with academia, with the private sector is there. It's here a lot on the part. So we've got to take that forward. And so I'll ask Mark now just to take you through that master plan, the next 1 million square feet of development, and also what that's going to yield. But importantly, it's not just a bit of real estate. It's actually taking that knowledge through the research, the development, into that wealth creation, into those services, and the quality of life for a lot of our citizens in the future. And so this next phase is a very important phase, and I'm going to thank Mark and his colleagues for actually putting all this together, making some sense of it, and being able to move that forward. Mark.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. I feel a bit boring talking about buildings after a bit mundane after all the great stuff the guys have been talking about there, but I'll do my best and try and keep you awake. That's the mission statement, or that's the statement of intent of where we want to go. To echo what Councillor Fox said earlier, it really is about partnership. This stuff doesn't happen just by us wanting to do something and bang a fist on the table. We picked up Richard's vision, or whoever's vision it was that Richard stole, to come up with this. And it is difficult because science parks have evolved really from public institutions and academic institutions. So to bring one forward like this does take a lot of partnership. And the great thing about convening the stakeholders around the Legacy Park Limited, the Children's Hospital, teaching hospitals, the two care networks, Sheffield Hallam, Darnell Wellbeing, that all means an awful lot, because that's a great thing to do, as Richard said. Oxford and Cambridge tend to dominate this Oxford-Cambridge-London triangle. There's immense amounts of money being spent down there, and I'm a bit suspicious that that's really going to work in some ways. I think we've got a lot more to offer here, so when people say, well, okay, we've got lots of cash, why do we put it in Sheffield? We want a really good answer. And the key to that is partly the property, but as property people, we accept that property is only 50% of this. The other half is the ecosystem that Richard talks about. That's the community, not just the community we build here as at the business, at the science park, of the businesses, and right from startups to corporates like NHS and Canon, but also the local community, because at its very heart for the people of Sheffield, this is a core regeneration project, so it's got to work its way through the local public. And the great thing there is that that's aligned. I like to align the commercial and the social, if we can, in a project, rather than just pay lip service to the social, which can happen. So the idea of, on the commercial side, people will need, companies here are going to want to see where the future of their staff is coming from. Where are the skills? Where are the new staff? Where are the exciting new people with their exciting new ideas coming through? So to very much lay that in the culture here, and also try and bring it through from the community. Okay, back to the boring bit. This is the 1 million square foot that Richard talks about. I say that, it's not precisely that, because I have the existing buildings, which you can see, so that's Oasis Academy there, the building we're in here, and AWRC, you appreciate there. That's outside the 1 million square foot. So the next building will be CCHT. And again, the flow that Richard talks about, the knowledge transfer and a place to do that, it's a fabric to do that, it's not just buildings to keep the rain off. The next, starting with CCHT, which is a terrific starting point, terrific anchor. If you want to bring forward a science park that gets people excited, there's no better flag in the universe than the NHS. So bringing all that forward, and people like Google and Amazon Web Services get excited by that. So it's a very important starting point. But to help that flow, what we want to do is use this building as an interim innovation centre, if you like, to kick things off. Build a much bigger innovation centre to take from startups and really focus the health and wellbeing resources into that place, into startups, into creating the ecosystem. And then what we call the Move On building, because that's what it's for, and I'm sure Nick will come with a better branding name in due course. But next to the CCHT, a sort of a twin building opposite the UTC, next to the CCHT. So that building will be for companies to grow into when they get mature enough to have their own space, want to have their own space, have their own corporate identity, if you like. and also for companies of any size that wish to come and locate here at the park to partner people. No doubt, plenty of NHS partners who want to come on board. And with the growing ecosystem, as Richard mentions, we expect to fill that pretty swiftly. So you've seen the CCHT, that's been described much better than I. We've brought this forward, we've got planning for this already. And we're on with planning the Innovation Centre, planning application due later this year, probably the next 2 to 3 months. That Innovation Centre is looking at about 100,000 square feet. And we're setting out to do nothing less than the best innovation centre anybody's ever seen, because when you've got a blank sheet of paper, you might as well. The Move On building, as I mentioned, CCHT just in picture to the left on the lower left picture there. That's really a good quality building, ready for those other businesses to come into. And again, the quality is important because whatever the science function, however important the ecosystem is, people still need a nice place to be, and a nice, aesthetically nice, and somewhere that feels safe and feels modern. And as well, one of the great blessings we've got at the Olympic Legacy Park is an in-situ infrastructure, including the tram system, which is only getting better. About 11 minutes to the city, and of course just a couple of stops down to Meadowhall. What we'd like to do, working with South Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive, is create a space that, yes, works for the arena events and all the health and safety that goes around that, and the people management, but also to create another inspiring space. I think the theme is a cross-section of muscle or something is what the layout's supposed to look like. So we're trying to breathe some themes in here today. And then finally, for this next step of the development, because these buildings here are the sort of the buildings that facilitate that knowledge flow, that growth of small businesses. Very happy to welcome big companies who want to come and take space there themselves in their own building. But this is how we really get the park going and build a real engine of young and growing businesses. And again, touching back on the quality of environment, what we'd like to do around Flame Hill over to the canal, because the canal's a fantastic space, really to be brought into the park as it develops. As we put more people here, the natural surveillance happens and it becomes, you know, less of a remote industrial location. It becomes a much stronger place, full of people, full of vibrancy. Public realm's important, and there's the canal, fantastic connection, so we want to make the most of that, and that will be in the next phase. So this is very much the next stage, if you like, of this phase of 1 million square feet. That represents about 170, 180,000 square feet. In addition, we'll bring forward as well an active travel hub, which, yes, is a multi-storey car park, but on the ground floor has an awful lot more going on. It's promoting alternative forms of travel and facilities for cyclists, a really top-notch place that just facilitates all these alternative modes of transport. And of course, we've got great bus routes down that Cliff Common Road as well, and the tram. So we've got everything stitched up, really. We just need to build it. And that's the brand, made to move in all ways. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot to Mark. I've got this vision of you going down the canal to Sheffield City Centre, you know. I can imagine it. I'll teach you. But seriously, thanks, Mark. But again, just let me go back to this. It keeps us ahead of what Mark's been mapping out there, is keeping us ahead of the game in a number of areas. And we think it's very important as this park evolves, as it's done over the last 8-9 years or so. We've got to keep ahead of that game and making sure that we are capturing all those assets, all that knowledge, all that ability to move this east end of Sheffield, one of the biggest eastern parts of a city in the country, the fourth largest city in the country. If we can actually transform this with the infrastructure that's been spread by Mark, then, or spelled out by Mark. I was just reflecting. I know Claire plays all about this when I start drifting off my script. But I'll just tell you this little story. I took some of the guys down. Some of you know, bless his soul, Richard Rogers, who I'd worked with. Richard was the well-known architect, great guy, Richard, and I'd worked with him when I was a planning minister, and we'd been off and looked at densities and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I thought I'd better get advice from some of the top guys. So I took Narendra, and one or two more down to his little calf down there, whatever they call it, down in London, and we met Richard Rogers. And I laid this map out, of the park, and he just stood there, and he said, Richard, he says, M1 there, city centre there, canal, super tram, roadways, can't fail. He says, that was it. He says, once you put that in, everybody's screaming for that, you've got it. So basically go away, get it done, Richard, because you can't fail. Now, Richard's not here anymore for us to question whether he believes we've done it right or wrong. I don't know. One other guy that supported us, again, pretty well from the beginning, and a friend of the park, a real friend of the park, I must admit, and has batted for us, and is one of the famous sons of Sheffield. Just thought, to be fair, this is a message he sent a little earlier, but I think there's parts of it that really resonate today from one of our Sheffield's favourite sons.
Back in Singapore in July 2005, when the UK won the bid to host the Games, you said that legacy was a vital part of our bid, and you were right. You only have to see what has been achieved at the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park to see that this city rose to that challenge. By using the Olympic and Paralympic legacy, Sheffield has moved into life sciences in a big way. You really have proved the sceptics wrong about the potential and impact of the 2012 legacy. The Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park stands as a beacon to that legacy. I have to be honest, when others had doubts about Sheffield's request to use the O word, I supported it 100%, although I wasn't quite sure how we would persuade the International Olympic Committee. But I know the people of Sheffield are some of the most determined people on earth, so I happily went in to fight for it. You delivered, as you so often do, and you are now the only venue outside of a host city that the International Olympic Committee has allowed to use the word Olympic in its title. I'm so pleased to have been able to play my part in achieving that accolade.
So just a few words from Seb, who was instrumental with a few of us to winning the 2012 Olympics, which was great. I just say just one thing. There's a book on there called what is Concept to Legacy, and if you take one, what Ruth's been saying, you've got to make a little donation to Children's Hospital. It's just a little journey I had from becoming sports minister to really where we are today. I hope you enjoy the read if you take one, but also send some money to Children's Hospital as well. Q&A now. If there's anybody would like to ask any questions to, I think we've got a mic, haven't we? Yeah, we've got a mic, yeah. If anybody wants to ask any questions to any of the panel there, this is a time to do it. And I know some of the press are here, but they'll probably be doing one-to-ones afterwards anyway, which the staff's arranging. And just let me say, that when I said to them we ought to have a press conference, we ought to do development, Claire and Susan and Chris as well. But in that particular context, Claire and Susan have done an absolutely fantastic job in getting this through. We're only a very small team, and doing something like this, putting it all together, I think, thanks a lot, Claire. Thanks a lot, Susan, for what you've done. It really is a fantastic event this morning, and I think we've done the Olympic Legacy Park proud, not just here, but out there as we stream it around Whitehall and Westminster and other parts of the globe as well. So thank you very much to Claire and Claire. So, are there any questions that want to be put to the panel there? Just to say where we are and where we are going. Richard.
No, thanks, Richard. Hello. So we've spoken about this, but I'd be interested to know from the panel, how do we make sure that this facility is not just seen as a Sheffield asset? I mean, I fundamentally believe it's at least an asset for South Yorkshire, if not Yorkshire, if not the north of England, and actually global. But it's called the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park. How do we make sure that people of Doncaster think it's a fantastic place for them to come?
Can I just ask one? Yeah, that's a good question. Do I have to repeat that, or is that okay? Is that all right? Okay, fine. It's just that the people who we're streaming to, they can't hear you when you're speaking in your audience, but now you're using the mic, that's great, because they understand the answer to the question. Sorry, do you understand the question? Whether you understand the answer is a different thing. But anyway, carry on.
I promise I didn't pay him to ask that question. Look, I think it's fundamentally important. And when I came and looked around the site with Richard and others, and we stood up on that hill, and that's exactly the point that I made, was this has to be a South Yorkshire asset. And I know that's at the heart of the vision for the centre. There are 1.4 million people in South Yorkshire, and we've put money into this site, the 6 million funding that we've committed, because it will contribute to the healthy lives of all of those people, the youngest children first off, and then as we go through the generation. So it is fundamentally important to my vision of what South Yorkshire looks like, which is the healthiest region in the country. As I've said, sites like this, centres like this, are absolutely central to that vision and how we'll get there. So we're going to work closely with colleagues from the centre and across the Olympic Legacy Park to make sure that's a reality.
I'd just add that Sheffield Children sees children from across the UK and beyond, actually. So we are caring for children in Sheffield, but way beyond our borders and the borders of South Yorkshire. And the NHS in South Yorkshire is extremely supportive of this development. We've been working with colleagues across in Rotherham, Bardsley, Doncaster to make sure that they feel as proud of this as we do in Sheffield as well. So yeah, I think it's a great point and something really important that we need to do for the future of all children. Did you want to add?
So thanks, Richard. It's a great question and one that we've pondered before. But I think the first thing to say is the clue is in the title, National Centre for Child Health Technology. It's clearly an asset for South Yorkshire, but it's important that what we don't do is create an injustice for children and young people outside the region. That this is about creating the most advanced and the best technology for children and young people, created in Sheffield, the benefit for the region, the benefit for the country, and actually internationally as well. What we do at the National Centre for Child Health Technology has to go from discovery to translation, and translation locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. And I come back to those Super 7 strategic priorities. These are not problems inherent to this region. They're inherent in the country, and in fact, when you travel abroad, all the issues within those Super 7 strategic priorities are issues internationally as well. So we create it here, we have the innovation, we create the solutions and the support, that we build it here, but it translates right the way through the region, nationally and internationally.
I'll just say there, Richard, because Richard's the head of the... Okay. Give me your title again, Richard. I can never remember that. Academic, Science and Health Network, and Richard's on our board, and has just become chairman of the LEP as well in South Yorkshire, and he and I have been discussing, because I just think if we're going to level up, if we're going to be really serious about that, and then we've got to be linking with Leeds, and I think also we've got to be linking across the Pennines as well with Manchester, but at least Leeds, we've got a great healthcare. We need to start building this up and stop being precious about these boundaries. We've really got to say, how can we deliver for the health service, but also for the people of Yorkshire and beyond as well. So I think that's a really important message that we need to send out as well. Are there any questions? Any questions? Come on. Sir. Oh, Kevin. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Kevin Kerrigan from Sheffield Hallam University. First of all, congratulations on where we are now. Paul and Ruth, I suppose a question for you would be, what's your hope for timeline for when the building will be up and running and activities taking place there? And I suppose for Mark, what do you think that the arrival of the Centre for Child Health Technology will do for you conveying a message to potential investors onto the park to make it more attractive for them to come here?
Do you want to answer the last question as well?
No, we're okay. We're okay, as long as we get a thumbs up.
Okay. Well, for us, as I say, the NHS flag is a great one. If you want to talk about innovation, health and well-being, which is what this park's focused on, then the NHS flag is great, and in a trite marketing way, but also in more depth, because what lies behind is an enormous organisation with extraordinary amounts of data, extraordinary amount of variety. So that's tremendously important, I think, and it's just bringing those sort of the where it really bites, I guess, is where you can bring startups and scale-ups and SMEs, and that actually, you know, because of the scale of the NHS, probably big organisations as well would like to partner with the NHS. I'm sure that as the NHS, it could even revolutionise the NHS in some ways. I mean, I say that not as an NHS, and they might be rolling their eyes behind me, I don't know, but when you think about it, just sort of creating that collaboration and putting private and public more close together to work more closely together, bringing that forward, you never know what might grow from that for the benefit of both sides. And I know there's a strong move towards innovation in the NHS, I've heard various speeches on it, so it's those two key things, and no doubt many beyond, I would have said.
Great, thanks very much. Maybe I'll stand up because people can see me there as well as hear me. So it's a great question, Kevin, and I think the first thing to say is this has not come out of the blue, the National Centre for Child Health Technology. This is a journey, and the journey started back in 2014 when I worked with colleagues to develop a national network called TICH, Technology Innovation Transforming Child Health. And we led it in Sheffield. We leveraged through working with national funding bodies and understanding the problems that are facing children in the NHS and locally, nationally. We worked to support funding in child health technology, and through TICH we leveraged over £6 million of funding for child health technology. That was the start of the journey, and then we got funding from the NIHR, the National Institute for Health and Care Research, to form what's called the NIHR Children and Young People MedTech Cooperative. And we host that at Sheffield Children's Hospital, but we're a consortium of 7 hospitals, some of those hospitals you'll be very familiar with, to support, again, the development and adoption of child health technology based around unmet need. And my colleagues from the NIHR SIP MedTech are here, supporting this fantastic project, the National Centre for Child Health Technology. And through our work, and there's some amazing work going on. I mean, I really wouldn't have the time through the day to tell you all the different projects that are going on, but these are game-changing and life-changing technologies that are already being developed. And we have leveraged, again, an additional £12 million worth of funding for child health technology. So from a modest investment, the first of which came from the Yorkshire and Humber Academic Health Science Network, this has grown exponentially. And it has really been about changing the lives of children and young people. So we're already on that journey. We're on that timeline already. The time hasn't started today. The time started back in 2014 and will continue. And we will continue to grow, work with multinational, small business, local business, to continue to develop those technologies that will really be game-changing for children and young people. Chris and others are speaking with global companies about investment, really to bring child health technology to life before the doors of the centre open. We'd be looking at potentially opening in 2025 for the National Centre for Child Health Technology. That being said, it should be already operational. It's about moving in. It's about moving house, basically. It's about getting our colleagues in there and continuing that great work and expanding and innovating continually. This is a timeline that's been going on for many years, and I would hope for many decades to come.
Okay, Paul, thanks a lot. Yeah, and just to supplement that we're quite determined to get this development away. I'm hoping by June we'll be groundbreaking, and then we will be developing that to make sure that we are delivering on time on the scheduled program. I'm very proud of this park in the sense that you take the UTC. On the January the 1st of the year it was built, there wasn't a brick being laid. By the 29th of September that year, young students were walking through the door. So we actually delivered on every count, and I think we've got to do that, have that discipline here. It is a state of mind, it is about a culture, and unfortunately sometimes we drift a bit, so we need to be absolutely disciplined, all of us. If there are no more questions, because I know people want to do a bit of networking as well, can I just say, first of all, thanks for coming. Anything you can do to promote that out, please do. And I say that through your connections, both nationally and internationally. When I get on that train, and what Paul's been saying is absolutely right, but just put this in comparison. When I get on that train at St Pancras, and I look to my left, and I see the Crick Centre, that's £100 million a year investment, a great investment. The Golden Triangle, Cambridge, Oxford and London, a great national asset. But if you really want to level up, then we have got to be ambitious. But it's no good being ambitious unless you've got something to sell. I hope what we've done today, and I hope it gives you confidence to do it in any way that you're moving, that what we have put on that wall today shows that, A, we've come from there, we're here. We believe we've been successful today, and we can really move it on to that next phase. We can only do that with people buying into the vision, people becoming partners with us. And so what we have laid out today in its many facets, we want you to become involved in it, and we want you to promote that and to sell it as well. If we do, it's a win-win situation for all. And I'm just going to just finish on this note to my very good friend Paul. I'm going to Twickenham on Saturday, Paul, and I hope England beat Scotland. So thank you. I thought I'd finish on that, Paul, because he's a mad Scotland speech. When he comes in his kilt and that, he'll be there shouting for him. So anyway, just a little in-joke between Paul and myself. Anyway, look, all of you, thanks a million for coming. Have another cup of tea, network, and if you want anything, we will be sending out, Claire, Sue and Chris will be sending out packs of this. We just want to keep continuing to put that message out there. Anything you want to know, give us a ring or drop us an email and we're out and we'll try and answer that. But it's our project. It's Team Sheffield, Team South Yorkshire. They'll make this happen. Thank you very much.